Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Today's guests, including Thomas Drance, standing by, brought to you by Langley Chrysler. Enjoy no-hassle 3-day returns and 30-day exchanges on all used vehicles so you can make sure what you get is just right for you. Don't just love your car. Don't just love your car. Love buying it at langleychrysler.com as visions of strange addictions go through my head. Thomas Drance joins us from The Athletic. It's the Canucks and Leafs, Saturday, 4 o'clock, Rogers Arena. Thomas, thanks for doing this. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
You had a beige suit on the other day. It was tan-colored, camel-colored, whatever it was. You looked so good the other day on the Canucks podcast.
Thank you.
Like a young Robert Wagner.
The tan and black, it's a classic old-school look, right? I loved it. I was very, very happy with my outfit. I appreciate that you appreciate it as well, man.
It was incredible. Your reaction, we're going back a bit here, Thomas, but your reaction to the Canucks hiring of AGM Cammi Granato.
I mean, I think it's a great hire, specifically because of how often and frequently Cammi Granato has seen this team play live in her evaluative capacity as a pro scout with the Seattle Kraken. You would be hard-pressed to find any scout in the industry who has seen this team play more games over the last 2-3 years than Cammi herself. And I think that's a really important thing for this team to bring in, because as you look ahead, as you begin to chart what's next for this franchise, the most important thing in evaluating players is being able to evaluate yourself. And when you think about what we've seen from this club, it almost feels like there have been sort of 3 seasons to this point, right? You had the first 25 games, and those were miserable. And then you had the 9 games under Bruce Boudreau, the Boudreau bump and the vibes, and look how great everything's going. And then you've had this sort of return to a baseline level of 500 hockey. And so having someone who's seen years of this team and understands how they've gotten to this point, can perhaps see through the fog of the club's close to 700 point percentage form under Boudreau, and know for sure that this team's a long ways off from being good enough to hang with the best in the league. I think it's an important hire. I think it's a really important thing to have brought in. And honestly, I was almost relieved. To know that they had brought in someone with Cammi's experience, her leadership abilities, her ability to just be a smart hockey person capable of evaluating hockey players. But more than that, just someone who knows this team inside and out and understands, I'm certain, the distance to travel to get them to where they want to be.
Smart person, period. Hey, Thomas, we were talking about Elias Pettersson in the first segment. We ran some video of his last 2 goals, wiring a shot against Arizona, bullying his way, powering his way to the net against the Islanders. 7 goals in his last 11 games, 3 assists as well. What are you seeing from him?
Well, and I think it's been coming for a while, certainly since that Tampa Bay game. When he first moved to the wing, I've seen a more assertive version of Elias Pettersson, something familiar to us from his first 3 years as opposed to his sort of fall doldrums. And, I'm not surprised to see him begin to get rewarded in a significant way on the score sheet for a variety of reasons. One, he's Elias Pettersson. He's a really, really skilled hockey player. 2, everything this season in terms of his percentages were trending in a way that you knew it was just a matter of time, right? His personal shooting percentage was well below his career rate. His on-ice shooting percentage well below his career rate. He was due for some bounces in production. And then lastly, when you're driving play the way he has for about 12, 15 games now, it's, again, only a matter of time before the goals start coming. They're coming now, and they're not just goals. They're delicious goals, right? They're fantastic plays. And that's what this team needs from Pettersson on an every night basis if they're going to get to where they want to go. As much as we talk about what else this team needs, the blue line, scoring depth, a right-handed centerman for the penalty kill, whatever else you want to say that this team needs, they're not going to get anywhere unless Elias Pettersson does that type of jump up that we saw from Nathan MacKinnon in his 5th season, right? That we've seen from Jonathan Huberdeau and Sasha Barkov and Aaron Ekblad over the last couple of years, right? He does need to level up his game and become that superstar level player, or this team's not going to get to where we all hope it can get to with this core group. And it's not just Pettersson, right? I mean, we've seen Thatcher Demko take a huge step this year. Quinn Hughes, I think, bounced back significantly this season, but continued growth and evolution from him. At the end of the day, you need your best players to be not just your best players, but the best players in the world if you're going to win in this league. We're seeing some signs that Pettersson is back, as it were, but I do think we also need to see more in the years ahead if this team's going to be a contender.
Thomas, you got a radio show on 650. You had a big rant yesterday that the Canucks are not good. They're not making the playoffs. You were so fired up, you spilled your coffee on the table. Give us that rant right now.
The rant right now. Well, no, we were talking about Cammi Granato, and I gave the spiel, honestly, that I gave you guys, pretty similar, that she knows this team. She's seen this team. And that's important because I'm glad that the organization has brought someone in who has no attachment to what's happened, but also has been in this city and watching them play for years. Because this season doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? This isn't just all of a sudden this team's not good enough. This has been a process of just bleeding value in nearly every move that's been made, to the point where you've got this roster that's 23rd in the NHL in point percentage, right? They're fighting with the Detroit Red Wings, who aren't even trying to be good in the standings on an every week basis. That's their level at the NHL, like on the NHL roster. Then you've got a prospect system where there's very little of significant value coming. Jack Rathbone's their best prospect, but look around the NHL. Every team has a Jack Rathbone quality defenseman in their system. Even the really good teams, most of them have 2. There's not much else beyond that you can count on maybe filling out the roster in the years to come. Maybe Will Lockwood, but that's more of a depth type forward ad. I like the player a lot. I like the speed, but it's not enough. It's not close to enough. And then you get down to the lack of cap space for this offseason. You look at a team that doesn't even own their 2nd-round pick in this draft, and it's like, as you assess the health of this organization, what do they have? What do they have? All they have is a massive project that needs to get back on track. And that rant was just talking about the importance of having someone in like Cammi Granato who can see all this, who's seen all this for years play out right in front of her eyes. And then discussing the idea that in this market anyway, I feel like there's pressure to be polite about this team's playoff chances. And I watched that first period against the New York Islanders, and honestly, I watched that first period against the Arizona Coyotes, even though they end up winning. And I'm like, who sees a playoff team here? Yeah. Who sees a playoff team? Do you really see a playoff team, boys? Why are we being polite about this? We know that this team has a long road ahead of itself if it's going to get back to the place that we all want it to be at. And I don't know who we're serving. Who are we serving to pretend that this is acceptable? It's not. They wouldn't have changed management if it was. Yeah. And so, let Trader Jim cook. Let Trader Jim cook. This team needs significant changes. That should be readily apparent. Let's make that the baseline discussion. I don't think we need to see more. I don't think we need to see how they do against the Leafs and can they beat the Sharks and the Ducks next week. It's like maybe, but who cares? They're still not good enough. They're still, even if they make the playoffs, they're just going to get crushed by the Avs. Do something meaningful. Don't just in the race. That's what and that's where I think the conversation in this market needs to go.
Yeah, you spill your coffee for extra effect here. You did it for the guys in 650.
How much sugar you got in your coffee? How much sugar are you putting in?
Maybe it's not sugar.
I'm a skim milk in my coffee guy, man.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's awful.
What's the point? You can't even taste the skim milk.
It's got to be Cremo. It's got to be Cremo.
It lightens it up. It's delightful and refreshing. You guys are wrong.
We're missing out. Okay. Have you got something prepared here?
Thomas, did you, as a young kid, did you ever wrestle? No, were you a wrestler?
Yeah. Okay. Was I a pro-level wrestler as a young child? No.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Because.
Yeah, you're right. Spitting image of me as a child right here. Yeah.
That's
I was way ahead of the development curve.
Look at you. That's Kurt Angle, WWF. Is it?
Thanks, Rick.
Kurt Angle, big American guy. Yeah, that's Kurt Angle.
That's That's 6-year-old Thomas Drance.
Of course.
Thomas Drance.
5, actually.
Yeah. At 8, I let myself go, boys.
How many belts you got at home? How many belts you got?
I have one. It's reversible, though, so I can say that I have 2.
He had it on the other night with the beige suit. It looks spectacular.
I was on the black side. It was perfect.
Yes. Oh, incredible. All right, Thomas, thanks so much. Canucks and Leafs tomorrow.
Should be a fun one. Enjoy your weekend, guys.